Let's see.
It says we're live.
Oh,
Uh,
we're live.
uh,
Yeah. I think we sound good on audio. Yeah, we
Good.
sound good.
Yeah, we sound okay.
Yeah. Let's get lively in a voice, David. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
let's take it up.
Yeah. We sound good. We sound good. Yeah. All right. Well, hello, Joseph. Welcome back.
David.
Thank
Have you been?
Pretty good, man. Fine. I think I have. It's just been the case recently, and we won't go into like too much detail because that's not why the people are really here. But we go on tangents all the time. What's up, Victor? We doing it live? Yeah, we're back.
Hey, Victor.
Just had I had told you a little bit last week why I needed to postpone the show, which was fine because I feel like we just didn't know what we really wanted to talk about last week anyway. It's kind of a weird down week. And we'll
use that as your excuse.
Yeah. It's my excuse. But I think that we're in a better. Obviously we're talking about Fantastic Four this week, and I have something else I want to talk about too. Just I say somewhat briefly, but just trying to get everything in order as far as like life is concerned. It's like sometimes. I guess non-internet life gets in the way, and I just had a lot of stuff I was trying to figure out, and I think for the most part I got what I needed to done, and so now it's like full bore back into the show. I got to get the previous episode up and then start cutting clips and stuff again, and then move forward from there. Victor saw Superman. He said a 7 out of 10. Yeah, I had a friend tell me the same thing. Lay on the Fantastic Four spoilers. Oh, okay. I'm Joseph. I don't know. We had, sometimes Joseph and I text after we've seen movies just a little bit. Like we don't go into much, but there's at least something to be said, and it was absolute dead silence until you text me asking me if we were doing the show today at like at noon or whenever that was. So it's probably a bit of an indication of how we're feeling. Joseph, do you want to talk about that first, or you want me to go on my I have a positive thing to say about something in the entertainment sphere for once. So,
you go ahead and say your positive thing about the entertainment sphere.
I am happy to be able to at least, what I'll say is like tentatively, because I bought a video game that I've been wanting to get for a couple months now, and I have not been able to find a physical copy of it since it released because it sold out almost immediately. It was like a total shock to me because I didn't think anybody was paying attention to this game. And I was like, well, I'm not getting a digital copy. I want a physical copy. Like we've talked about this in the past, like just trying to, at least in some form, try to have as much like physical media as I can, manage with limited space and things like that. But I bought a game because Amazon finally restocked it at the correct price because it sold out, and then of course all the scalpers were then doubling the price of it on eBay or in other places, so it was like impossible to get a hold of it. This game is called Claire Obscura Expedition 33, and it is I don't want to say too much because it's very like spoilery, and it's something that I think if anyone, so it's an RPG, it's turn-based, but it's very, I'd almost call it active turn-based RPG. It's by a small French studio. It's their first game. I can't remember the name of the studio slipped in my mind, but they are ex-Ubisoft developers, so the guys that did Assassin's Creed and For Honor, and I'm sure I'm missing some of their other big franchises. These are like the Just Dance people. Massive studio. And from what I've been able to gather, the team that left and created their own studio to create Expedition 33, they were just kind of tired, I think, of that big corporate structure, and it's a team, I want to say, of like 20 people. And it was like $50, which is like way under what the typical market is for new games right now. Like at this point, you're paying $70, $80 depending on what we're talking about. And it is such a cool game. The aesthetic, the French sort of like trappings in the game. So like the characters speak in French, they curse in French. It's got a very sort of like, it's like this like Alice in Wonderland vibe going to it. And I haven't gotten all the way through it yet. Obviously, like I just got it a few days ago. And I'm trying to stay away from spoilers, because one of the coolest things about it is that as you're playing through it, the world that you're in, it's like this giant mystery. Because essentially what's going on is that there is a group of people who live on what I would roughly say is an island. And for the past like 77 years or so, they've been sending expeditions onto what they call the mainland, because they're trying to find a way to stop their people from dying out. And that's all I'm going to say about the plot, because if I say anything else, it's going to go into like pretty early on like spoilers, and it's something that I think you have to play to get the most like out of, and really just like be a part of that. Now, obviously I haven't beaten the game yet, so that's why I said this is kind of tentative, but there's so much about it that I already love. The characters are really cool. They're all like very different. They all have very different personalities. And it doesn't feel like the typical just bland, we're doing the same thing that we've always done. It feels creative. It feels fresh. It feels like it's taking ideas from the past and really putting like a new spin on them. And while also feeling kind of like, I don't want to say comfortable. I don't know if that's the right word that I should use, but there are things about it that are like familiar, as far as like when you've played games before, you've played RPGs before, or whatever the case may be. Like you're kind of going to understand how to play the game. But it's really cool, and I love the setting. I love what they're doing with the way that they've they've set up. How's I explaining this? The threat in the game, and the way the sense of dread that's going on, while also having these like lighter moments. It does it really well, and it mixes really well. It's something, we've talked about this with Marvel, and we'll get into it with Fantastic Four some. But this whole thing where there's these insanely tense and serious moments that get completely undercut by humor, or quote unquote humor. And the game has like a really good mix of sort of this sadness and it's like not scary necessarily, but there's definitely like major threats that are going on, and it's a very like dangerous place for these characters to be in. And then there's these like small moments of levity, because the world that they're involved in is also really absurd in a way. It's just like they don't completely understand it because of certain things that are going on. And again, I'm being vague on purpose, because I don't want to give anything away. But it's almost like dark humor in some instances. And I have been just like absolutely enjoying it. Like I had to stop to go see Fantastic Four last night, and I did not want to. And I haven't been able to play it today because I've been getting ready for the show, and I had to work late today. Yep. So I've been like itching to get back to it. Because there's from what I've heard, there in the second act, there's like a major plot twist. But what's cool about it is like if you're paying attention, there's stuff that I feel like I've picked up on. Like I'm like, I think this might be this, and I think this might be happening. And there's if you're paying attention to like the world and the like you have like an overworld map that you're running around on occasionally. There's some stuff going on in the background of that you're like, oh, I wonder what that's about, and like what this world that you're in really is, and how this is all like taking place, stuff like that. So it's really cool. Dude, it's really, I haven't played a lot of games this year, and I've been like out of that a lot more than in past years. Stuff just doesn't catch my attention, or it doesn't last for very long, or just kind of like we've talked about in the past with like movies and TV. It's like, it's just a lot of like regurgitation and doing the same old thing, and nobody's trying like new things or whatever. And this feels,
no one's being creative, and it feels very a lot of AI. Everything's safe. You know?
Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to the. That's a good word, Joseph. That is a good word. Yeah, and this feels very creative. It feels like it's taking risks. The combat system is probably, as far as RPGs are concerned, like turn-based stuff, it's the best turn-based game I've played in a long time. The closest thing I could say, and I don't think you've ever played this, but there's a game called Persona 5. It came out, it's probably been 6 or 7 years at this point since that released. But that's probably the closest thing you can tell that they were like slightly inspired by that game, and then took what was working with that and added to it. And so you constantly have to stay active, even though you're waiting for the enemies. You know, it's like turn-based, so it's taking turns back and forth attacking. But when the enemies are attacking, you have the ability to parry, to dodge, to jump over certain attacks and retaliate. And so a lot of the game requires you to continue to stay active while you're playing it, instead of playing this passive role of like, well, now I'm just going to use the attack button, and then this character will use the heal button, and then this character will use a special move. Like, all of that's still there, but in order to play the game well and in order to be rewarded, you have to be active in the participation of these fights that are going on. So it's kind of unique in a way, and I'm sure it's not the only game that's ever done it. But it feels really fresh. It's super cool and stylized. And it's still got this little bit of this underlying sense of humor, but it's not really taking away from what's going on. And it kind of had me hooked from the beginning, because it really seems like they're taking care with the characters, and it's still a little bit obscure as far as like, I don't fully know what's going on with the story, so it's hard for me to give you like the story really, really holds up as it goes on, or it works but it falls apart in some places. But I'm like 10 hours in or so, and I'm just like in love with it. Like I'm just enjoying it so much, and kind of being engrossed in the world and everything that's happening, and unraveling sort of like the mystery. And you keep running across all these other expeditions, and you get little like there are logs from previous expeditions, and so you get a little bit of an idea of like the fate of them.
Yep.
And it's obviously that hasn't been like fully revealed either yet, and so I'm really curious to see where all of that's going to go. But the game feels really special. I think that's the way that I would put it. It's like every once in a while something comes along, and it's just out of nowhere, and it's not coming from these major studios. Because it's like you were saying, like, it's all of this stuff that they are making now is safe. It's the safe bet. It's the thing that they think is just going to continue to print money for them. But there's nothing creative. There's nothing that interesting about it anymore, because we've seen it 6 million times beforehand.
To be fair, to be fair to AI, I do think it could do better than what Jurassic Park was.
Oof.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they use Copilot. They probably used Microsoft Copilot. That was probably their mistake. They should have at least gone with ChatGPT or Grok, maybe.
Something.
But yeah, I mean, I just think you hit the nail on the, or what I said is trying to play it safe and bring audience in. But then when you lack that creativity, when you lack that human touch, it just you don't develop this cult following. It's kind of like with Amazon announcing that they're partnering with this streaming provider called, or this AI company called Showrunner to. They announced it today. I want to say to allow me and you and people who subscribe to the streaming platform to prompt our own scenes, even on top of existing IP and everything.
What?
And so it's like, guys, like, you don't understand. I think Michael Bay said it best, that if people who are good at their jobs just keep working hard to know their jobs and know that they know it, you'll be great. Where AI, I think, will weed out people is on the entry level stuff.
Yeah.
Like the basic stuff. But heck, I was trying to use it to develop something, Microsoft Copilot specifically, just a PowerPoint presentation, dude. Just like I fed it this attachment and said, hey, make me a PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah.
I mean, I said more than that. I made listed more prompts. And it just did absolutely nothing I wanted it to do.
No, Joseph, it's going to take over. It's the future. Yeah,
no, and I don't think that it is. But I think this over-reliance that Hollywood studios will use, maybe it's one thing to use it for graphics and stuff like that to an extent.
Yeah, YouTube, but YouTube search optimization engine stuff. That's what I think I've been pretty open on the show about it. It's like, that's what I do, because I hate writing that stuff out. It's miserable. But it's also not like a creative endeavor. It's literally just because you're trying to manipulate the platform to get your stuff out there for people to see it.
Yeah, exactly.
I still use Photoshop for everything that we do, and it ranges from, well, that felt creative this week, or I'm just gonna slap the Fantastic Four image up there. We're gonna move forward. It just kind of is what it is when you're
there's certain
in this
uses
position.
for it, for sure.
Sure. Yeah, like I think there's.
It's not the use for it isn't a tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars of a product that you're putting out to an audience.
I heard, I think it was on No Agenda, where they were talking about the so maybe it was one of their producers.
Adam doesn't have any hope at all.
Someone might have, I think they wrote in and said that a girl just got let go, and when they were going through all of her stuff, it turned out that she was hiring and firing people based on, I don't know if it was Chat GPT. I think it was Chat GPT, but based on what Chat GPT was telling her to do. So she was basically feeding it all this information about potential hires or people who were going to get raises, and asking it if it was worth doing that. And that's the kind of stuff that I'm like, that's crazy. That's a new level of lazy.
Yeah.
That you're just I can't be
really lazy.
Yeah, I can't be bothered to know the people that I work with, to know whether they are in a position where they should get a raise or whether this person should get hired or not.
You know what the problem with that is? The over-reliance, I believe, on AI is because you're taught in school to just submit to authority and obey just mindlessly, not to think for yourself. Mm-hmm. You're not really taught in school how to think.
Yeah.
You're taught what to think.
Yeah.
At least, from my experience and everyone I've known and talked to and some of the research I've done. And I think that's a large reliance of people on AI, is that it's going to make them lazy because they want to just be told what to think and not how to think.
Yeah, it's like all the people...
All AI can do is imitate. It can't create anything new.
Yeah.
Plagiarism.
Yeah, dude. That's funny you mentioned that, because that's that same quote that everybody was using when Amazon got the rights to Lord of the Rings.
Oh, no, David.
Isn't that crazy?
But you reminded me today that they posted a video of the helmet, the crown of Sauron, and they said something is stirring for season 3, and I was gonna
cancellation.
You better flush it down the toilet.
Yeah, dude. The only thing stirring is y'all getting that show canceled finally. Oh, brother. But yeah, man, I legitimately. So one of the things that's cool about it, right, is the price tag's awesome. You can tell Like, the game's not perfect. You can tell that it's a bit more of a budget game in some areas.
Yep.
But to be
Nothing wrong with
honest,
that.
well, it's like I've been telling you, like, this is so consistent for me with what we've been talking about with the way that a lot of these industries are going. Is it's like, stop making these insanely expensive, very safe products and take risks and just don't spend as much money. And every once in a while you'll run into something like Expedition 33 where you're like, well, they nailed it. Like this, I mean, they're an experienced team, but this is the first game that they've made. And it's done super well. It was received very positively. And I'm excited to see what they're going to do next. And I'm hoping that industry looks at that and recognizes what that game represents beyond just what it is as like a game, and like what it potentially means for the industry, and that they give it the accolades that it deserves. Because the other option is that they're going to give the Donkey Kong game that's going to come out on the Nintendo Switch 2 Game of the Year, and we're just going to be stuck in the same cycle, which the cynical side of me is like, that's probably what's going to happen, because these things don't change that quickly and people just fall right back into business as usual with a lot of this stuff. But I'm hoping I'm wrong. I might not be wrong, but I'm hoping I'm wrong. Like, I really hope. I mean, it's it's a little early to say, full force, but it's probably my game of the year. Not that means a whole lot coming from me, because I've played like 3 new games this year. Well, that's not true. There's some like smaller stuff that I've played that came out this year, but yeah, it's definitely the best game I've played this year. And I can't wait to get back to playing more of it. But yeah, man, I wanted to mention that because we don't always get to talk about stuff that's actually good, or stuff that we're excited about, or that it has like a ton of potential. And I'm hoping that it's not the last time this year I get to praise something, because I was looking over my list of movies again, man, and it's been a rough year. It's been a very
really rough, man.
Mostly average to below average year for movies.
You know what we could review next week if you wanted to? Happy Gilmore 2.
Oh, we could.
That's
do
out
that.
on Netflix.
Yeah, we could do that. I'm fine with that. If you want to do that, I'll probably still watch F1. Maybe we can we can do a couple things and we don't have to do super long reviews for any of them. Because I watched a movie. We don't have to talk about it because it was not very good. But I watched that Heads of State movie that's on Amazon. Because friend of the show Justin told me that he thought that I might enjoy it, and my text to him after I watched it, I was like, why did you make me watch this NATO propaganda piece disguised as a comedy, or something along those lines, man. Dude, it's what it is. The entire movie, like the stuff with Idris Elba and John Cena, is pretty good. Like they're pretty good together. And it's got like a fun buddy comedy thing going on. But then a huge portion of the movie is them basically trying to tell the audience why NATO is the most important thing in the world. And I was just like, I was like rolling my eyes so hard, man. Because it does the thing that a lot of modern movies do, where you start feeling more for the villains than you do for the heroes. Like the heroes come off more stupid, and you know how it's like they're not teaching you how to think, they're telling you what to think. It's like that's exactly what that movie feels like. Is that it's like, no. Like, if we don't have this, bad things will happen. And it's like, bad things are already happening. You have it already, and the entire movie is telling you bad things are already happening. So like, what is your, and it's got this it's got this really bad, like, triple cross, like, plot twist thing at the end that was like, oh my gosh, didn't see that coming. So can't recommend it. It was kind of disappointing. And it's by the guy that did Nobody. It was directed by the guy that did Nobody. And you can kind of see it. Yeah, you can kind of see it in some of the action. Like, some of the action's good, except that Priyanka Chopra's character literally dodges 2 bullets like that are almost like point blank shot at her. Like so this guy comes up behind her at one point at the beginning of the movie, and he like fires off a round like really close to her head behind her, and she literally dodges it like someone was trying to punch her. And I was like, oh no. I was like, I guess this is what we're getting into. And immediately I'm like, why did Justin recommend this to me?
That's too funny.
All right.
Alien Earth comes out in a few weeks, so maybe we can
dude.
do like
We could talk
maybe
about
we can
that.
do.
We'll at least talk about the first episode. That's how it usually goes.
Yeah.
And then it's like, are you
So I
still
guess
watching
next
it?
week we can
Nah.
do Happy Gilmore, and then I guess the following week will that be
Nobody. It's Nobody 2.
Nobody, and then we can do
Alien.
Alien Earth. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I had texted you earlier, I'm gonna go see Weapons because Justin like really wants to see it, and I'm mostly curious because it looks like a kind of cool thriller sort of thing. So I'm curious what's gonna be going on with that one because I liked Barbarian. It's the same director, so we'll see how that one goes. Also has the Silver Surfer in it. She's been very popular this year. I've seen 3 or 4 movies this year where she's been in some sort of role. The girl's name's slipping my mind, but that actress has been in a lot this year. She was in Wolfman. She was in Fantastic Four. There was something else on my list that she was in. What was it?
I don't know, but it looks like we'll be doing Nobody too, and then also Alien Earth because they come out the same week. So, just FYI.
What was it?
So I wanted to see
Alien Earth and
Alien Earth comes out the same week as Nobody 2 2 does.
Wow.
But I wanted to.
One of those will take priority.
Yep. 100%.
I don't know what the other one I saw her in this year was. I know it was something. Doesn't matter. All right. Well. All right. Are you ready to talk about?
We got Wednesday, part 1 and 2.
Oh wait, the TV show.
August,
I mean, bro, you're more than welcome. I got through, I think, an episode and a half of that, and I was like, nope. I was like,
couldn't do it.
No, not at all. I like Jenna Ortega. I think she's a pretty good actress. I just the stuff that she picks a lot of the time, it's just not my thing, you know.
Yeah. Well, at least we don't have to watch Night Agent.
What is that? I don't even know what that is.
You don't remember that show from last year
Night
in 2020
Agent?
or no, sorry, in 2023 where it's like a whole conspiracy going on at the White House and he has to uncover the truth. I can't really remember it. It's an action thriller.
I don't even. The name doesn't even ring a bell.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it just kind of goes back to what we were
The
saying.
Sandman recently came out.
Oh, bro, who cares? Yeah, who cares? Nobody cares. Nobody's talking about that. It's like a lot
We're
of
not
this
talking
stuff,
about it because old dude, Neil Gaiman, I think, isn't he the creator of that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well,
TV
he got in trouble, but I mean, also, I don't think anybody really cared that much about the first season. I mean, it goes back to what we, all of this comes back to things we've already talked about, where it's like the seasons are taking too long to come out. They have huge fanfare around the first season. Second season comes out. It's taken way too long, and everyone goes, "Oh, right, that thing. When is that releasing?
Well,
oh, the whole thing's out already? Okay."
Speaking of which, that's the same thing you're talking about. The Terminal List. I forgot again that it's coming out at the end of August. Dark Wolf. It's not the
prequel.
It's the prequel, but it's like it's been too long.
How many years has it been
in between seasons?
2-3 years.
Yeah, that's just too long.
It's way too long.
To roll them out.
It's funny.
That's one of the things you look at The Bear, and they've been rolling out seasons every year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I know it's a bit different than Terminal List, but
still, it's very popular. Like people love that show.
It's not a comedy though. They need to freaking get back to it being a comedy instead of freaking.
It's been too
drama. Woe is me. Pity. I'm crying over my 5-course meal. Like just. Oh
funny.
my gosh, dude!
I've been wanting
like
to. It's one of those.
Said the interpersonal drama.
Oh, it's too much.
Stop.
Yeah, I know, man. That's why I still just like. I haven't watched a lot of TV this year because of that.
It's fine, but just don't make that like you're supposed to be a comedy. Don't make that the focal point of your, at least of this season. Like move past it.
Yeah, I feel that.
Sorry.
No, you're good, dude. I know.
Very passionate
Yeah,
about
dude.
that.
I feel it. I completely understand. All right,
I want
so
something memorable, David.
yeah,
None of the crap we've been watching is memorable.
I know.
It's been, I will say this. We're about to get it, since we're going to get into Fantastic Four and Superman. Both of them bad movies. I've come to just
Yeah,
firm down on that.
yeah.
Maybe the good kind of bad, you
They're
could
like,
say.
I would almost call them old school bad.
Yes.
Like they're not modern bad. I
No,
don't
they're
think.
not.
I mean, it's tough. It's just not.
Conveniently, they both have a black hole in it, too.
Yeah, I find. Yeah, that is crazy, isn't it? Well, it's so weird, dude. God.
That was. I was like, that's convenient, isn't it?
Yeah, no kidding. She'll be in there for a month. 2 seconds later. Yeah.
It would be a month for her, or like it would. I'm sorry, it'd be a month for them, but quick for her.
I guess, dude. There's a lot of stuff that's said in that movie that I was like, okay, and then I'm like, are we still? No, we're not doing that anymore. It's like, okay. Yeah.
I know what you mean.
We're, I want to give it like maybe we'll kind of keep track of it over the next couple of weeks. Jurassic World is holding strong at number 1 of these 3 movies, man. It's not $1 billion. I don't think it's going to hit $1 billion.
Dude, that's so bad.
It's like 700.
It's at $723 million,
and it's
why?
And it is the worst movie I've seen this year.
It is 100% a terrible movie. I told you what
it
my
is awful.
Sister said, right?
700.
I didn't even bring up Jurassic crap to her. I was just talking to her. She was like, "Oh, by the way, just in case you haven't yet, don't go see Jurassic Park Rebirth. That is a effing terrible movie."
Super.
Died laughing because I wasn't expecting the effing part, and I'm like, I already know. I would have told you if you would have asked. You should ask me before you take. And she was just complaining about how they don't spend. It's just about the entire no development, so many issues.
It's just massive slop for sure.
But Superman's only at 510, and then obviously Fantastic Snore just came out, but it's 241 million.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say Fantastic Snore. That's not true. I just wanted to rhyme.
It is
word association. Word association.
Oh, Trump over here. Fantastic Snore. It's. I've been working on that. I've been watching too much Shane Gillis.
Right.
Yeah.
That was a good impression.
Thank you. I've been trying. The hardest part for me with I can do his cadence. It's his specific type of gravelly voice that I haven't been able to nail down. But it's good enough that if I'm at work or I'm messing with people, it's good enough. You know what I mean? It's because there's not much to it. And it's so funny if you I know I'm going on another tangent, but if you listen to Shane Gillis talk about how he figured out how to do it, he's like, it's really easy. He's like, you just move your hands and not the rest of your body, and then you point at the wrong sort of interval in the inflection of what he's saying. And then he does it and he sounds so good doing it, and then you're like, I'm not there. But it's fun, and it cracks me up, man. He's so good at that.
I wish I could still make those AI videos of him.
Oh, bro.
I don't know why that got shut down.
Oh, man.
I mean, I know why, but
yeah, Fantastic Four, we'll see, man. We're just past the first weekend. It's the second weekend that usually kind of gives you an idea. Yep. I don't know how people really feel. I don't know how people feel about this movie. I've had one person in real life tell me that they liked it. They didn't love it, but they liked it. And I'm curious how long that's really going to last, because that seems, Thunderbolts was that way. Captain America was an exception, because that movie's incredible. To be fair, Captain America's probably the worst movie. Captain Falcon's probably the worst movie that I've seen this year. But I think on principle, it just has to be Jurassic World, because it is such dog crap.
Dude, that's a hard one to decide.
It's one of those two. For sure, it's one of
Yeah.
those two. They are bottom of the barrel. And I
Dang.
just it was expected with Captain Falcon, and
Dang, David. I would have to really think about which
I
one's
know
worse.
it's really bad.
Part of me just dislikes Marvel so much that I
Exactly,
just
right?
want
But
to
it's
say.
expected.
But
It's
then
almost more
the
expected
other
with
part of,
Marvel.
but the other part of me is I want to say Jurassic Park because it's how dare you make me watch this?
Yeah, how dare you insult me like this, right? Like you kind of knew that. Like both of us knew going into Captain America like what we were getting into.
Yes.
And I think there was at least, and maybe it was stupid like hopefulness or optimism on our part with Jurassic World that we were like, well, maybe like it's there, because I remember I was like, it's starting over. They're doing like a fresh thing with it. You know, maybe they've learned lessons from at least like why, even though the other ones made a crap ton of money, why they were taken in so poorly as far as like the reception to them. But no, they made it worse. I think they made it worse than the last three that came out, and it's just like, how did you make it worse? Like
And I think what
uh,
people miss is they need to reduce things back down to what makes a good story.
yeah,
And in
too
my
much going
opinion,
on.
there's too, as you just said perfectly, too much going on. They're inserting too much. Whereas if you look
Hmm.
at Godzilla minus one, they take it a step back and it's insularly, is that even a word?
Yeah,
It's focused
insular. Yeah,
on,
you're right.
yeah, it's very insular in the characters that it focuses on. And Godzilla plays an integral part, but it's more of his presence and the backdrop and focus on these few characters and the entire community as a whole.
Yeah,
Whereas I think Fantastic Four does a better job of focusing on the characters than Superman probably
it is a
did, with the
much more
exception.
focused movie for sure.
It is. But I would say I think Lex Luthor rises above as far as with character. Maybe it's just because old dude did such a great job portraying Luthor
Yeah,
than any of the characterization within Fantastic Four. But yeah, it's Fantastic Four is much more structured and focused than Superman at a superficial level, maybe.
yeah, exactly. I think because I kind of when I got out of the theater, the way that I said it, I was like, I feel like Superman and Fantastic Four are probably pretty similar as far as how I would score them.
Yep.
They're just bad for different reasons.
Yes.
Whereas like Superman, it's crazy and sometimes nonsensical. But I like some of the characters, and in ways, I think it's forgive me for saying it this way, I guess, but like it's more fun. Like I feel like there's stuff in it that I'm like, yeah, I kind of like that. And to be fair, it's kind of the same with Fantastic Four, but like I didn't find Fantastic Four to be like, I feel like superhero movies need to have an element of fun to them, and I didn't really get that from Fantastic Four because, like you had said before, when you use the word safe, Fantastic Four is a very safe movie. It is trying very hard to be unoffensive in every way possible. and it
But do you think
hmm,
do you think they went with more of a serious tone because of the criticisms we've given Marvel over the years of constantly undercutting the tension?
yeah, I mean, I'm trying to remember.
You know,
It's not as bad. It's definitely the
I'm not trying to
jokes.
rain on your
No,
point,
no, no. The
but
jokes are still bad, but I don't remember the serious moments being like fully undercut. But like the problem is it falls really flat because of that. So it's like
so
nothing.
I would say one of the aspects I liked about the film was more of its drama. Ironically enough, I know I was just dogging the bear for it, but for different reasons. It markets itself as a comedy and as a drama.
It didn't.
One of the things with Marvel is that they've been so much of a comedy of movies for years, that this one I enjoyed the more serious and developed tones and themes to the movie personally.
I just didn't find any of it to be that interesting or appealing.
Right, I can understand that.
You know
but
what I
at least
mean?
I credit them for trying to. It did seem with this movie they took some of the criticism down.
Yeah, I agree. But I think the biggest problem is Doomsday is coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's
So none
like
of this is going to matter.
because I'll tell you, like I really like the aesthetic of the movie.
Yes.
I very much appreciate that someone who worked on this movie said we need to make everything from like the world like as consistent looking as possible. So how we always talk about how like a lot of these movies and the way that they're made, like the worlds don't feel like they're lived in properly. Like it doesn't always make sense. That was not really something I got from this. It everything from an aesthetic perspective felt right. Like it looked right. I love, they have like your little robot companion, but he wasn't like overly goofy, like he actually was
Yeah.
probably one of the better parts of the movie. I think for me, like the best parts of the movie were the small robot man. And then I like Galactus, but it's just kind of cool, And I have problems with it too because it's like I don't understand how they beat him. Like it doesn't really like the more you start to kind of like think about all of that, you're like I don't know how y'all won. Like it doesn't really make any sense.
The best way to sum up Fantastic Four and Superman is a mile wide and an inch deep. If you look at it from a mile wide perspective, you're like, oh, this looks, this is a decent movie. But then once you start to peel back these
Start
layers,
scratching
it
at it a
starts
little
to
bit.
crumble. Yeah, it
Pretty
crumbles
quick.
fast.
Pretty quick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Once you start to think about it at all,
The science,
it's like, oh yeah.
The science in Fantastic Four is just like nonsense. Like they're not even trying to make it really work. They're just like, yeah, this exists, and Reed can do this, and it's like, well, why can't he? Well, he's smart. Thanks. It's a great.
It's
answer.
one of the movies like this. This would be a great movie to go see and just completely turn off your brain, not think about anything, and you're just watching.
Yeah.
And you can be like, okay, I'm following along.
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah, Superman's roughly the
Turn
same
it on
thing.
at all, if the light starts to flicker in your head at all,
wait a
that's
minute.
when it starts to.
Yeah. Hang on.
Why doesn't Galactus just make her induce labor right then and take the baby?
Yeah, you could have just.
Spoilers, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, we're gonna get into spoilers. I don't know, man. Though I just like it. Of the 3 Marvel movies that have come out this year, it's the best, which isn't saying a lot, but it is the best of the 3. But you're talking about a multi-$100 million disaster with Captain Falcon. The Thunderbolts was just misery.
I prefer to call it Captain Soldier Winter Falcon.
Yeah. And then Fantastic Four is an attempt at them doing like a soft reboot, is what it sort of seems like. But I'm not sure it really.
Just to completely crush it when Doomsday comes
Yeah,
out.
with way too many cameos, a story that probably won't make sense. I've heard the script's not even done yet.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
And there's rumors that like it's going to get delayed and they'll put a Spider-Man movie out before it. I don't really know, man. It's hard for me to care. And to be honest, dude, it's like it is fatigued to some degree. Like even going to see this, like there wasn't really. It was. I've said it before on the show, but like with all of these movies to a degree, it was more a curiosity to see what was going to happen than it was to really be all that excited about it.
Dude, I didn't care about it. Even if people would have, even if the only reason why I watched it is because you asked me to.
Yeah.
And had you not asked me, and people would have been like, oh, this is a good movie. Possibly if they would have said this is a great movie. If they would have said it was a great movie, I probably would have just been like, okay, I'll catch it on streaming when it comes out. I'm not going to
Yeah, it's
go to the theater and watch it. I just don't. First off, I think I'm not. I think Pedro Pascal is a good actor. It's just
he was perfectly fine in this movie for the
yes,
most part.
he was. but he's being cast in these roles that he doesn't fit and belong in my opinion. When you
Yeah.
think about Reed Richards, it is not Pedro Pascal,
No.
which is fine. He does a fine job, but I had a similar complaint with I still with previous actors in the past in different roles they played. It's kind of like he does a fine job in uh, The Last of Us as Joel, but as you've pointed out numerous times, because you're more familiar with that character than I am,
Yeah.
and other people have, he doesn't fit it, and so
Yeah,
it's
he's not
like,
really Joel. He like kind of has the look, but he's not big enough. He doesn't do the stoic, like gruff, like grizzled. I can't remember. I don't think he was a veteran, but the idea being that he's like seen a lot and he's been through a lot. He's a killer. He knows. He just didn't. He doesn't have that thing.
right.
That zhuzh, like to really be able to play a role like that. And so yeah, and it's he's all right at this. Like I was less annoyed than I thought I would be for the most part. Like it's not really Pedro's fault. Yeah, it's not his fault that some of the writing is crap in the movie, and
No.
like they have nonsensical science that they're trying to get him to explain, and
it's like, hey, just believe it because he's super smart.
yeah, exactly.
And it's like, wait, you want to do what with the Earth, and you didn't think about being smart? How that would throw everything off?
Oh, bro. His name's slipping my mind right now, but the guy that played Johnny Storm, I liked. Thought he did pretty good, and then the guy that played Ben, I thought was good too. But they just didn't give him anything to do, really.
That's probably some of my biggest complaints. Would be, they have a great cast actually, chemistry, but I wanted to see more of Ben and more of Johnny Storm. And I do think, like, at the end, it's like, even though it was fine with what Johnny Storm did, a decision he made in Act 3, it was one of those things.
Are we talking about the Rose Tico thing? Do you know what I'm referencing?
Yep. This seemed like more of a Reed Richards should have made that decision.
Here's the thing, though, is like, I think he should have done it, and I think they should have committed to Johnny doing it. And not have this, if we're talking about the Silver Surfer thing.
Yeah,
is that what you're talking about?
Yep.
Yeah, I think they should have committed, and this is the movie's way too safe. Everything about it is like way too safe. Like the stakes, everything. They don't like they do set up the stakes as far as like what Galactus is able to do, but then they just like handle him so easily.
Yep.
And this is a problem. Marvel's had this problem in the past where they set up characters. It's why like the Thanos stuff works so well, is because Thanos like beat them. Like he proved how powerful he was, and Galactus is incredible. Yeah, and now obviously they didn't actually like kill Galactus. They literally, we're in the spoiler territory. They push him into a portal, to get him to get him to leave. While his ship is still. I don't know if his ship has some sort of like homing beacon or whatever, but like the ship was still hanging out up above Earth. It's like, what are they doing with that thing, But yeah, it still feels a little weird that even though it pretty much kills Sue, that she was able to do that.
That's actually the worst part is not her dying, but them bringing her back.
The baby is
just to stay dead.
Yeah, the baby is very creepy. It's very uncanny valley with how much and I know they do it because you can't keep a baby on set for very long. Like there's restrictions with those kinds of things, like child labor and all that. But
everybody's against child labor until it affects their entertainment.
Yeah, right. But using the CG baby was weird, and there's like,
don't put the kids in the mines, David. Just put them on my TV show.
I know, right?
A movie.
That whole thing is really weird too, because the movie doesn't do a very good job with the passage of time. And even Justin pointed this out, where Sue has the baby. And then you see the baby again, and it looks like it's 6 months old or a little old, and you're like, wait, did we get a time jump? What happened? I was like, I don't really know. And then the movie's already sort of, I mean, not fully lost me. Like I would say roughly invested because I was like, okay, like I'm following along. Like I was like impressed. It's kind of sad, but I was impressed that there was like a point A to point B with the movie, even though it's kind of messy in between, which is something that Superman struggled a lot with.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I don't know. Like it's weird, and I don't know. I don't care.
I like the family-centric themes.
Yeah, but it's
the hopeful theme of family.
It's
the idea of, do you sacrifice your kid? What sacrifices do you make for the greater good? And maybe like, which I totally get. Like, you don't sacrifice your kid just to let people out there know. I know Hollywood.
Wait, what?
Maybe that's an allegory for Hollywood. But I think that concept and toying with the fate of the world being at hand. Like, yeah, I mean, of
it
course,
is interesting. They just don't do anything with it.
No, they don't.
Because they go no, and then everyone goes, oh, okay, and then they move on. They go, oh yeah, right. We can't sacrifice a baby. Like, yeah, it's just not. And again, it's the problem.
It would have been with an War of the World. Well, what about my kids? And like some sort of fight back against them.
One of the funniest, unintentionally funniest parts of the movie.
Well, I'm sorry, let me interject.
No,
you could use that aspect of some people in the world coming against them, but then, you have to go back to a morality and objective standard, and that's just not something that Marvel has, which is why it falls flat.
Yeah, well, they're playing it too safe. Yeah, they're not willing to take a side. They're not. It's the same problem that Alex Garland movie Civil War had, is that everyone was expecting it to be one thing, and then it was basically nothing because it didn't want to basically take a side or try to have like specific perspectives, and have something to say about like the current world or whatever. And everyone was like, yeah, it was pretty much just stupid, and that's what you get a lot with Marvel. Like, they're never going to, we will never get anything as close to being as mature as something like Civil War ever again from Marvel. It was like a moment, a drop in the water where they like were trying to do something that felt a little bit more mature, and then they were like, no, we just got to go back to making stupid jokes. Yeah. And not, and making everything as like safe as possible. And that's what Disney is, man. They're never going to, even stuff in like Deadpool and Wolverine, like, yeah, it's like raunchy and like R-rated, but it's still pretty safe for that.
Right.
And it's like, that's what Disney is. You're never going to have anybody be able to push the boundaries or talk. I mean, like, you look at something like V for Vendetta that came out nearly 20 years ago. I think it's 20 years next year, Joseph.
That's crazy.
Man. I know. And like, you watch that.
Is crazy.
You watch that, and that movie has something to say. It's very like maybe not affirmative is the right word, but it's trying to make points, and it's trying to get you to think. And like, so much of modern cinema has lost that.
They don't have a moral basis and compass to go to.
Yeah.
So they don't stand for anything, so they can't point to anything.
And it's brain rot. Like, they're not even trying. Like, the thing is, it's like, a lot of the time they're not even trying.
Ideology.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, at least Mickey 17, as awful as like his role was in that, at least like Mark Ruffalo did something. You know what I mean? Like, it sucked.
But I think the end point has been what we said is, the more it decentralizes away from Hollywood, the potential for it to be better than what it has been.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Is high.
I agree. It's indie and a lot of this like smaller stuff where you don't have to make like insane amounts of money back on your movies. And you may be able to find like a niche audience. Like, that's, I don't know. Movie theaters have gotten weird with this stuff, dude, because there's like a solid 10 to 15 minutes of commercials before you get to the trailers for the movies. And when the movie, so like the movie for us, like the movie started at 6:50. For the next like 10 to 15 minutes, it was just ads. Like your typical T-Mobile, blah, blah, blah kind of ads. And then they showed trailers. And then there was like at least one or two ads that was interspersed like in the trailers. And then the movie finally started. And it was like, and it's because they're losing money, man. It's like, it's not a profitable business anymore. And it's like, it's the way that everything is right now, it's not sustainable. And that's like kind of beyond me. Like I couldn't even tell you where they would need to start to turn a lot of that around. But you might see some of this stuff eventually turn into these more like niche movie theater things, or people trying to get their movies into smaller theaters or being able to play them in other places. And I kind of like that. Like it's the idea of it going back to like these smaller roots is really cool to me. It's very, I've been watching like a bunch of interviews from like Quentin Tarantino recently. You know, he's like right at the end of his career. And I was telling Justin this, is like the dude has like a bit of this, like, I don't know a better way to put it, but he's got a bit of this like punk rocker mentality with the way that he does things, because he's like, I'm going to do it my way or we're not doing it.
Yep. And
he's very firm in that. And people don't like that, but you don't get to where he has been and have the solid rock. Like, whether you like his stuff or not, the dude has had an unbelievably rock-solid career.
Yep. Regardless how you feel about his stuff.
Yes. And he legitimately has this interview. I can't remember what the name of the movie was. It's been slipping my mind. I need to look it up again. But there was a movie that came out in the 90s that he wrote the script for. Mm-hmm. And they changed it. Like they reworked like a bunch of stuff to the point where he was like, this is not my script anymore. And he told them, he's like, take my name off the writing credit. He's like, I do not want my name associated with the writing of this movie. They still gave him a story. They gave him a story credit for it, but like, so he's like credited as the like story creator. They gave him some sort of thing in there, but he doesn't have a writing credit for it. And he's like, I don't want my name associated with this. He's like, I don't want people to think that I wrote what you took and changed. And I was like, that there's none of that. We don't have that anymore.
Yep.
You know, and
too many cooks in the kitchen.
It's just,
I think that's one aspect that ruins it, because then it takes away the creativity, and you're doing all this audience testing and this and that, and it's like, guys, it
takes away from the vision. You know, and we've talked about it because like I've been trying to write a little bit more, and I think a lot about kind of the way that my process works, at least as early on in it as I am, is that like I think about how I want it to start, how I want it to end, and then how I get from point A to point B. And then as I'm doing that, it's thinking about characters that are in it, personalities of those characters. Like eventually I want to have like a whiteboard. You know what I mean? Like I want to get like into the details of it, even for stuff that's like these like indie, or like my goal right now is to like finish my first like full length script, and then I want to cut it down into about half an hour to be able to try to like get a short version of it made as like a template for a larger version of it. Like I think that's probably the route that I want to go. And obviously this is like a huge undertaking. Like this is not a thing I'm going to be done with by the end of the year. But that's, at least right now, that's how my like thought process is working. And then figuring out, because like one of the things that like Tarantino talked about is that when he's writing scenes, he starts thinking about the type of movie that he's making and then the kind of music that he wants to put into the movie. And so he's writing a scene and he's like, oh man, like what's the music going to be like in this? Like what do I want to do? What's the kind of like emotions or whatever that I'm like wanting to feel for this or whatever? And so it's kind of where my head's been at a little bit, which is a little harder when you literally don't have money. Because copyright is crazy. I don't know, man. What else do we want to talk about with Fantastic Four? Because like I just don't.
Nah, I'm done. It about the same as Superman.
Yeah, look, it's gonna come out on Disney Plus at some point. Watch it there. I don't really think it's necessary to go see it in the theater. Like it's just not impressive. It's pretty underwhelming. There's a lot of stuff
you find to watch at your house when it comes on streaming.
Yeah. And it's like you were saying, like it's very wide, and then you start scratching, and it doesn't go very deep. You know, it's like you were saying about some of the themes that you liked, but that it's the same problem we've always had. It's like the themes are there, but they don't really dig into them at all because they're too busy trying to show you the big like world-ending thing that's going on that Marvel still can't get away from, you know? And then they don't have the courage at the end to have like Johnny sacrifice himself to be like separated from the family, or to have the world destroyed by Galactus, which was, you know, Thunderbolts. Like that was the end credit thing for Thunderbolts, is that the Fantastic Four ship is in main MCU world or whatever. So it's like, what's going on? How did we get from point A to point B? I guess Doomsday is going to tell it. That movie's going to be like 4 hours long. I'm sure it's going to be so long, dude. Because they have all this stuff that they have to like tie in and wrap up. But yeah, man, I don't know. It's like, it's funny kind of seeing all this and trying to figure out how like on a way, way, way smaller scale, like make it work. And like, how do you make characters interesting and what makes them interesting? And how do you make it like relatable, regardless who the character is? Like, and it's interesting, man, because like I think it's funny. Tarantino. That's the last thing I'll say about Tarantino, but he has this thing that he was talking about where like when he was writing Pulp Fiction, he had spent like a couple. He had finished Reservoir Dogs, and like had made enough money off of that so that he could. He was like, I think at that point he said he had never been out of the country, or maybe he'd never been to Europe. And so he was like, I'm going to go to Europe. And so like he spent time in Amsterdam, and he ended up using that in Pulp Fiction, because he was like, basically what he did is one of the John Travolta's character had just gotten back from Amsterdam. And so like it's a weird thing that like helped influence one of his characters for the writing. So he was taking like personal experience to a degree and like adding that as color for one of his characters. So everyone's constantly being like, "Oh, you went to Amsterdam? Well, I've heard this or whatever." And he's like, "Yeah, it's not like that." Yeah, it's that kind of stuff, you know. So it's those lived experiences, if you will. And because I know we talked about this a while back, but there was this like, especially among, I think like, internet movie critics, there was this weird thing that was happening for like a couple months where everyone had this opinion that like if you'd never seen like live combat in another country, that like you can't write a script. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you remember this? Where it was like, oh, well, all these people like went to war and that's why they were able to write like such good stuff. And I'm like, no, listen, sure, there's experience there and there's things that you draw from that, but it doesn't mean you literally have to go to war and potentially die in order to be like a top tier writer. Like that's absurd.
They don't think that, unless it comes from this idea of people thinking that you have to have a live experience in order to properly write about something or to know something, which isn't necessarily true. You can put yourself in someone's shoes. You can read someone else's story and be greatly impacted by that.
Yeah.
You don't have to. I don't have to have kids in order to comment on other people having kids on what to do and what not to do.
Yeah,
right.
You have enough experience in living in the world that you know what a bad parent looks like.
Yep. And what a good parent looks like.
It's like gaslighting practically, you know. So it's kind of the same thing as it's like you can definitely do research into things. Like I've got ideas for stuff that I would like to write. Some of it's like experience, but then some of it would probably require me to get some help, you know, or like to talk to people about certain things. And I think it's totally fine, you know. But then like one of the things that I like is that a lot of the like what I would call the foundational stuff for characters that I want to write, it's like based on people that I know. Not fully, right? Like especially because it's like the thing I think about all the time is like, all right, is like even if it's someone that like I'm not fond of, is like I don't want to fully invest in like that as the character. It's just like aspects of bad relationships that I've had, or you know, bad experiences that I've had, that it's like there are these foundational things that you're building on to make like a dramatic character, or make like an interesting character, and the dynamics between two people and different things like that. So but it's just like funny because the last thing that you really want is someone to be like, is that me? You know, I don't want someone to like no, it's not. No, it's definitely not fully you.
Just
And
aspects.
yeah, and that's the thing is like there's these moments that happen or these things that happen, and I go, yeah, there's something to that. You know, there's something that I think could be interesting in the way that you write that into a script. And that's why, like, when we talk about like dull characters, or a lot of the stuff that's been happening over the last like 5 or 6 years or whatever, maybe longer than that at this point, but whenever we talk about something and we're like, yeah, the characters were just like flat or like it just didn't go anywhere with them, it makes you wonder if the people like thought about the depth of the characters or like what they represent and that kind of stuff. Like in any kind of movie, yeah. It's like you need that, right? Like even back when they were, people used to criticize a lot of like horror movies or different stuff from the 80s because characters had very specific like archetypes, but those archetypes come from somewhere. Like they exist for a reason, and it's probably right. Because a lot of the writers, when they were growing up in high school or whatever the case may be, it's like those were the clicks, those were the things that you were trying to do. So it's like, yeah, archetypes exist. Like people have certain things that they like or certain things that they're drawn to, and it gives them their personality and gives them character. It's like it's just how it works. It's like the Breakfast Club is literally all archetypes, but it's an awesome movie. Like yep. It wouldn't be the same if all these characters didn't come from like different backgrounds in the high school that they go to. So it's I don't know. I find it all very interesting, and it's kind of lacking to a degree. It's like Fantastic Four. It's like they got the family element to a degree, and like Ben and Johnny do a really good job with the back and forth. Yep. There are moments, man. Like there's definitely like it is a bit of a shocking movie at times where you're like, whoa, like what? Why does this actually feel like someone attempted something here? You know what I mean?
Right.
But it still doesn't. It still doesn't quite hit, unfortunately. And I don't know if the Fantastic Four, if they're really like the thing. I don't know. They don't strike me. I guess the way that I was thinking about it is it's like they're not Wolverine.
Yeah.
There's a reason that like Spider-Man, Wolverine, and Batman are very popular.
There is.
And I know Fantastic Four was, as far as like comic book stuff is concerned, but when you're talking about like general audience, it's like, and no one's. I mean, I would still claim to this day is like no one's made a great Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah. Do you think this is the best one though? To that point.
It's definitely better than the 2012 one or whenever, you know what I'm talking about? The one with Michael B. Jordan and Miles Teller. That movie is really bad. I need to go. It's kind of the same thing with like Man of Steel. I need to go back and watch the one from 2005. Not Silver Surfer because I doubt it's good. It was pretty negatively received at the time, but I minimum need to go back and watch the one from 2005 and see how I feel about it before I could tell you for sure, because I haven't seen either of those movies, because they were always understandably like everyone just was like, yeah, they're not good movies, but we're also talking about a standard from like nearly 20 years ago,
forever ago.
Yeah, so I don't know. You like go back and watch them and you're like, well, they're still not great, but they've got this to them, so maybe it's on even playing field. There might be like things that I like about that one more than I like about this one. Like I said, I think the aesthetic in the new one's great. I think they nail it. It's probably one of the strongest parts of the movie is that everything feels cohesive. It feels like the world is something that is lived in with these people, again, it's kind of the same complaints. It's like science is weird, and some stuff it's like I don't really know how that makes a lot of sense or whatever. And they don't really do too much explaining into why there's like so much world peace.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they've saved everybody, so there's world peace, and you're like, okay, it's like sure, let's go with it. Like different universe, sure. Obviously, that's not fully true because, the Doctor Doom stuff at the end, and like they make a point about like Latveria not being at the summit that's like their UN or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'll ever watch it again. It's just
Nah, I wouldn't watch it again.
like
Personally.
whatever.
Pretty much sums it up.
Yeah, another Marvel movie. And part of it, dude, is just like losing interest. Like somebody commented recently and asked us if we were gonna review Andor, and I was like, we just don't really care. Like it's
that's the problem.
It's like sorry,
and I've heard great things about it, but it's
yeah. And at this point, you and I both would have to watch a full season before we even got to season 2.
And our time is valuable.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. It's
that's
like,
the other part is that my time's valuable.
I haven't
even even if I've heard great reviews, and I get it. I'm sure it is great, but
yeah, and I haven't even watched Gangland yet, and I want to watch that. That Guy Ritchie show. So it's like there's stuff that I haven't seen that I want to see. I still haven't watched F1, and I want to see F1. So it's like there's a huge list of stuff that I still need to get to before I would ever consider getting to stuff that I'm kind of lukewarm to not that interested about. So yeah. Well, Joseph, you got anything else you want to add before we close this episode out?
No, sir.
It was a good one.
That was it for me.
Yeah,
it was.
Good conversation. Well, cool. Well, so we're doing Happy Gilmore next week.
Yep.
Cool. I'll have some smaller stuff to talk about, and I'll probably have some more to say about Expedition 33. We'll see how far I get in it this week. I got to find some time to play. Time is limited and all that. Well, thank you to everyone who has tuned into this episode live, to everyone who downloads the podcast. I would say every week, but I've been terrible about getting them out weekly, so sorry about that. Yeah, we're gonna keep working to make everything a little more focused and on time. But thank you guys for tuning in wherever you happen to be listening or watching this, and we'll be back next week with another episode. And until then, y'all take it easy.
See ya.